Thanks for tuning in to the Urban School podcast. Now I'm back with another hip hop topic. Now, on social media recently, there has been a discussion about another Rushmore. Now, these Mount Rushmore things haven't gotten old really to me yet. They're kind of simmered down and people have kind of slowed down on them. But I saw an interesting topic that I want to approach about the Mount Rushmore of rap hooks. Now, who has the best hooks or best choruses in rap history or hip hop history? Now, this is an interesting topic. Now, I had to think a lot about the last two, but the first two are obvious for hip hop hooks of all time because they've done such a great job of making these hooks. Now, early in hip hop, hooks wasn't as popular or they wasn't used as much or emphasized as much. But people started to figure out if you want to sell records, if you want to make radio, if you want to make the playlist today, or you want to get the streaming numbers, you have to have a catchy hook to bring these people in, especially people of not genuine hip hop fans or hip hop fans that are just, or people just want to hear great music. You have to start with a great hook because if you have have great production or have great beats, and then you have a great hook, it really doesn't matter what you say in the verses. Most people won't even pay attention to it, especially if you're a flyby fan, those type things. But if you have a great hook, you can make the charts, you can get the sales, you can get the fans, you can get the listeners. And a lot of these artists, especially in hip hop, get them from the hooks. Or in pop music, which is a part of hip hop, and the pop side is having a great chorus. Because if you have a great chorus, you can definitely bring the people in. So these artists that are the king of the hooks in rap music, first and foremost, Nate Dogg, rest in peace, one of the most one of the grandfathers of hooks in rap music. Dating all the way back to the '90s, all the way until the mid 2000s. His hooks were legendary. He had some of the best hooks ever. Regulate with Warren G. He had the next episode with Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. He had 21 Questions with 50 Cent. He had Area Codes with Ludacris, and he had Lay Low with Snoop Dogg and others. Till I Collapse with Eminem. His voice was just legendary, and I know optics wise, he didn't look like a singer. He looked more like a gangster, which he probably still was. But he had a voice and was blessed with a voice that fed hip hop fans for decades. And he was one of he's actually related to Snoop Dogg as his cousin. So they have that relationship there and their rapport, but his introduction into the game with Warren G and Snoop Dogg and others back in the day led all the way till now. And he had a lot of under-recognized songs too. He had a couple songs. He had a song with The Game. He had a song with, I believe, Kendrick Lamar, and he had a bunch of other songs that never charted, but they were great B-sides on albums that could have been easily A-sides. But of course, these artists had phenomenal singles, so they couldn't make every song a single. But if you wanted to put out a project in the '90s or a single in the '90s, early 2000s, you would go to Nate Dogg on a hook because Nate Dogg had one of the most legendary voices in hip hop, one of the most recognizable voices as well. uh, People like Ty Dolla Signs, you can hear the influence in them because Ty Dolla Sign is one of those other guys who has a deceiving look. He doesn't look like an R&B singer or somebody that sings, but then he has an angelic voice when he gets on the hook. So a lot of artists can thank Nate Dogg for that, setting that foundation. Secondly, T-Pain. Now, T-Pain not only did hooks for himself, but for others as well. He's a ghostwriter. He said in country music, which we might not never know those songs because he said because of the racism that's in country music. But T-Pain was a soundtrack for pretty much most of my high school career and all of my college career because of the run that he had. He had one of the most impressive runs in hip hop slash R&B that you can have. But his voice using the auto tune. having a lot of club songs. He had probably the best club discography that you can ever put together. His content matter of about drinking and partying and um, was just a soundtrack to any college student during that time. And my time from '06 to 2010, T-Pain was definitely on your iPod or in your iPhone when it started to come out. You had a lot of songs that involved T-Pain, whether you wanted to or not, from other artists that he put on, because he put on a lot of artists as well. Because if you put T-Pain on your hook back in the day, back during that time period, your song was going number one, and it's definitely going to be charted for sure. Now, you might not get number one, but you're definitely going to be heavily charted because it's going to be heavy in rotation. You just had to put decent verses together. And he gave us a lot of great hits like I'm Sprung, I'm in love with the stripper, Buy You a Drink with Young Jock, Bartender with Akon, Up and Down. He had Drinking Partner which was a song that came out more recently that didn't get a lot of spins, but it was a very good song, especially well written song. But to talk about the songs that he's just helped other artists chart and do well and you know, help those artists ascend. Songs like "Out of My System" with Bow Wow, "I'm a Flirt" with R. Kelly, "I'm So Hood" with DJ Khaled and about 6 other people, "Shawty" with Plies, "Kiss Kiss" with Chris Brown, "Low" with Flo Rida, "Got Money" with Lil Wayne, "One More Drink" with Ludacris, and "Blame It" with Jamie Foxx. So all of these songs that he helped other people get hits with and that had his legendary voice on and his legendary sound. He took those people to the next level, but he contributed heavily to hit making and club making records and um, just the culture of hip hop in so many ways. So his run was very impressive. So third, Drake. Obviously, Drake has one of the better singing voices, i.e., a Lauryn Hill that can rap and can sing, and he brought a lot to the table with his ability. Now, he has some of the best hooks of the last 20 years with Money to Blow, Ashton Martin music, I'm on One, Dice Pineapples, 100 with The Game, No Guidance with Chris Brown, For Free with DJ Khaled and others. So he's had a lot of legendary hooks, not to even mention the hooks that he's made for himself on his legendary songs and his discography and the discography that he has. So Drake was my third pick for the hooks, best rap hooks of all time, or the Mount Rushmore hooks of all time in hip hop. And then lastly, my sleeper pick, because it was very difficult to figure out who could be the fourth, because most of the legendary rappers like a Nas, Jay Z, Kanye, they really don't they don't really specialize in the hooks. They usually have a sample or they usually have somebody else doing the hook. But this last person is not even a hip hop head or a rapper, but she is heavily involved in the hip hop community, and that's Mary J. Blige. Now, I remember a long time ago, the game said, if I die, F it, I did a song with Mary J. Blige. And I didn't, I started to realize early back then, I think this was '05, '06 maybe, that most hip hop artists, when they know they've made it, they've done a song with Mary J. Blige because of her legendary status and what she's meant to the game, not only just R&B, but hip hop as well. Because she dates all the way back to the '90s with Grand Puba, and then you bring it for a little forward to her and Jay Z on Reasonable Doubt, Can't Knock the Hustle. So she's done songs like that, and then you go to Method Man, song You're All I Need to Get By, and then 911 with Wyclef Jean, which was a huge song when I was a kid that was had legendary hooks on it, but she provided that as well. Come Close with Common, Now or Never with Kendrick Lamar, These Worries, which is one of my favorite songs with her and Kid Cudi, very legendary track that didn't get a lot of play. But Mary J. Blige is definitely one of those kings of hip hop hooks or kings of rap hooks in history because of her legendary status and her sound and the artistry and the chemistry that she has with these artists. And she's somewhat a part of that Interscope Shady Aftermath tree. She was performing at the Super Bowl with them. She did a lot of songs. She had an album, I believe, produced by Dr. Dre. So she's embedded in all of that greatness that they've had. But I couldn't leave her off the list of Mount Rushmore of rap hooks. So tell me what your Mount Rushmore of rap hooks are. And until next time, I'll see you next time.